Welcome to Here to Initiate, a podcast for manifestors, leaning on the concept of human design. We manifestors are 9% of the population, here to initiate, and it is time for us to rise. In this podcast, I, your host, Julia, want to bring a missing link to the marketplace. Having been a mentor and coach since 2018 and learning more and more about being a manifestor myself, I now, with this podcast, want to specifically support manifestors. With my brand Luxury Goddess, which is all about female remembrance, embodiment, and empowerment, I have served thousands of women already, and I now want to specifically support manifestors as well. I invite you to fully step into your peaceful, powerful self as a manifestor. Let's become who we came here to be, shall we? Welcome to today's episode, in which I want to focus on our alignment as manifestors, which is peace. So in this episode, it's going to be all about this topic. It's going to be all about peace. One quick disclaimer, it's raining quite hard here where I'm at. I don't know if you can hear it or not. If you do, it's a natural sound. Okay, let's dive right into the topic. Peace. So as manifestors, our self, our alignment, our natural state is and should be peace. If it's not, we will feel it, especially when the not self, the not alignment piece kicks in, which is anger. So today I want to talk about peace. We will dive into the piece of anger, that puzzle part of how to navigate that. We will dive into that in another episode. Today, I just want to focus all on peace. So how do we get into this state? How does it really feel? How do we nourish it as manifestors? Here we go. So the first thing that I think is very important to talk about is conditioning, our patterns, our limiting belief systems that we might have, especially as women. If you are a woman listening, if you're a man listening, you're very welcome. If you're a manifestor as well, of course, that's perfect if this podcast serves you. But especially speaking to the women that are listening, we tend to, in the society, be people pleasers or the control freak, in just what we learned how to be a woman, So if this is something that you still carry with you, if this is still something that you notice in yourself, that you tend to just people please, that you just tend to smile and yeah, of course I'll help you, or yeah, yes, I love this, or whatever you might say, but you don't feel it, you don't mean it, this could kick you out of your alignment, because you're not actually feeling into what you want to say and what is peaceful inside of you, but rather feeling the need to react a certain way. Now, this of course applies to men and women, as we all were conditioned as kids or in earlier years, and might have limiting belief systems around being ourselves, right? And about it not feeling safe, or even not anymore being used to being free. So what I can tell, or what I can share from my story, is that I really was kind of, alerted all the time. My nervous system was quite alarmed all the time when I was around people, especially if I didn't know them, or it was a lot of people, or it was kind of like a party or something, and I didn't feel as safe as much in my own energy. I already felt a little frantic. I already felt a little scattered in my energy, and I didn't even feel aligned right from the get-go. So the first invitation here is, first of all, to check in with yourself. If because of emotional wounding and trauma and, limiting belief systems, you still have that kind of behavior on autopilot, that you feel frantic, that you feel alerted in your system, that you feel alarmed. Because if you do, it's kind of hard to even be or feel peaceful most of the time, because then most of the time your nervous system already feels alerted. And if it does, it can't feel peaceful, right? It's almost the opposite. So feeling safe is feeling peaceful. And for that, we can't feel alerted or alarmed in our nervous system. That's literally feeling, your heart pounding and feeling a bit like, oh, okay, I have to really be alert, right? I have to stay alert and make sure I can react right away if there's something around me. So the first thing would be to look at patterns and see, are you still on autopilot in your life? Are you still, when you go to work or tend to your business or in your family, with your friends, with your mom, or with men or with women, right? So depending on, again, patterns and conditioning, do you still feel trapped in your behavior in certain moments, right? So check in with yourself if there's still something inside of you. And again, speaking about my past, I really felt this, how would I say, I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that yet. I wasn't aware that I could change it. I wasn't aware that I would actually have the choice or could be changing that, or even looking at these things and being able to change them. So now we know, right? Now, being in this realm of spiritual and personal development, we know that we can look at every part of our being and behavior, and if we want to change it, if we feel like it's not really serving us and it's not really all of who we are truthfully, then that's a great choice to make and understand, oh, I don't want that anymore. I don't want to behave in this way. Like, thank you in the past for the strategy that served me to feel safe or to feel loved, because that's the strategy that I had, because I didn't know I could change it. But now I know, now I can. So let me look at that, right? So the first question would be really, where do you still feel on autopilot and it doesn't bring you peace? Where do you feel frantic energy? Where do you feel scattered? Where do you feel alerted, alarmed in your nervous system? And when you do that, make that check-in. When you do that check-in with yourself and you really just take inventory, I invite you to look at certain areas of your life, but also certain relationships, maybe certain moments if you're a woman, in your cycle, right? So it could be different, different triggers that make it that you feel this way and that you don't feel peaceful. And that is a trigger from your childhood. Again, it could be, for example, around men, and therefore you still feel this way in a relationship with a man. Or it always feels like that at work, because this is what it gets triggered in your nervous system, because this is what you started doing, or how you started behaving in school. So every time you were in a school, and then later in a educational training or work surrounding or environment, you acted this way. So just really looking at the different parts that could trigger this kind of behavior because of past wounding. Okay, so this is the first thing. And for me, that was the biggest thing. Even just today, we went to a birthday party here on our jungle mountain in Costa Rica where we live. And I was so chill. I was so calm going there. And while we were there, I was really feeling into who I wanted to talk to, or even if I wanted to talk, or if I just wanted to sit and take a moment for myself, or be with my son or my husband. And I did not feel tired at all. from a party. Like sometimes it feels overwhelming. It could be a lot, but it did not at all, because I really stayed in touch with myself the whole time through. I didn't feel like I had to smile or talk or anything. And I've been feeling this way for many, many months now, and even years almost, because I've been doing the inner work. I've been really integrating my shadows so that I feel free and I don't feel like I have to be a certain way. And if I do, I can just observe that in the moment and notice and kind of curiously think to myself, oh, interesting, here the pattern still comes up. Why was it like this right now? Oh, because of that. Interesting. Okay, let me breathe through this. Let me, move through this, and I'll just act differently next time, because now I know, right? Thank you that this appeared for me to see. So I don't judge myself. That's just a little help for you to look at this, right? Like, I don't really judge myself. I don't judge myself at all in these moments. I don't think I should be differently, because I'm not in this moment. So I just notice and just really accompany myself to change the pattern for the next encounter, or whatever. So that's just that's the biggest invitation, really, because for me, again, one more piece about this from my past, I really was this people-pleasing girl, just always assuming how people would want me, so they liked me, and so I'd be liked, and so this way I would feel safe and loved. And that didn't feel good inside. It actually felt quite nerve-wracking. Like, I even feel this in my body right now, like it feels tiring. It feels exhausting, even, because I would have to assume all the time what people want me to say. Do they want me to entertain them? Do they want me to smile and nod? And this was most of my adolescence. And so feeling into my body now, I feel most of the time, I feel so chill inside my body and just feel so connected to myself and my emotions and my needs, because I've been on this path all these years to really recondition and decondition as well, right? So just unlearning a lot, but also again learning how I want to be and who I really am. So that's the biggest piece around peace. Because of course that is that's either who I am on default. That's who I am on default. And that is either me being peaceful or not, right? That's the biggest thing. And of course, we can look at all the different parts, like how do we really create peace? How do we feel peaceful? We will move into this now. But of course, the way you generally feel inside your body, the way you generally feel about being a human on this earth, and the way it feels to be inside your body, and the way it feels to interact with people, the way it feels to have this area of your life, say relationships or going to work or being a business, a woman or a man, an entrepreneur. Of course, that's the biggest piece, right? So I really encourage you to do the inner work, to really look at your patterns, really take an inventory. Where do you still feel trapped? What relationships maybe take more energy from you than give you energy, and why? Why do you feel like you have to be different? Because it's one thing that, I love being with my husband. I love being with my team and my business. I love being with my friends, my close friends that I have. I love being with my community and the life sessions that we have. Like, these are the moments I enjoy most. And then I might not enjoy it as much to, talk to, someone else, anyone else, or someone else, not anyone else, but someone else, say just a fictional character right now. But I don't feel not peaceful, right? I don't feel out of alignment, because I feel chill and my nervous system is regulated. And that's what I'm talking about, right? So really look at, why don't you feel peaceful with certain people or in certain moments? Like, what is it really that's triggering it? Because if you know, you can change it. Okay. So let's further move into the next piece of how are we in our alignment. And so one of the biggest things how I as a manifestor feel peaceful is to inform. Because oftentimes one of the only times I don't feel peaceful is because I kind of forgot to inform, or I didn't think, or I didn't feel that it was so important to inform in this matter, or to say a certain thing. I just assumed the other person would know, or I just thought, I already said it once, so they should know. So anytime that kind of happens, I mostly don't feel peaceful in those moments, because then of course anger comes up, or I feel a little misunderstood, or just a little alien in my head of like, I thought this was clear. I thought everyone knows. No, as we know as manifestors, not everyone knows, because people are not in our head. So a second invitation I have for you is to really inform even more, because we can't really over-inform. Not everything is probably necessary, but it's also not a problem if you just make sure you let people know. So, in my family, I say, I feel this way. I would like to do this right now. Later, I would like to do this. Today I'm on my period, so I'm very sensitive on sounds. So let me know if you want to do something, or especially for my son, right? If you want to be loud, of course, I want you to be able to be loud. I encourage you to be you, but let's find a way where it's good for both of us, right? Where you can be loud and I can have calm around me. So let's just really play with the needs we have. So especially everything need-based, I make sure I say, or find my own way around fulfilling that need, and then letting people know what I'm about to do. So all these kinds of things. And there's really many ways I inform. And what I'm especially meaning right now in this moment is really everything around your own needs and the things you want to do in a certain day or week or a month. So let people know, especially your immediate surrounding, your family, your friends, but even at work, depending on, if you go to a workplace. For me as an entrepreneur, it would be letting my team know, letting my CEO know what I am feeling. So even sometimes I just do a little voice message for my CEO, and I just let her know, this is how I'm feeling about the business right now. Like, this is how I'm currently feeling. This is what I'm up to. It's not even a specific product I want to launch or develop. It's just a feeling I have, and I want to just let her know so she can know how it feels to be inside of me right now. I just let her know, because say I don't let her know, and then she would, offer or have an idea to something contrary, my peace sometimes could already feel a little interrupted. And not in this particular example with my CEO, but just, in any kind of relationship, it could happen to me that the other person says kind of like the contrary thing. And I already have the contrary feeling inside, but I didn't inform. And then this little bit of anger or the disruption about the peace comes up because it's a contrary thing that's being spoken to, right? So I hope you can understand what I mean by that. But the more you inform about your needs, about your current state, where you're currently at, what you're wishing to do soon, or kind of like the visions you have. So whatever area of your life it is, put it in that area and let people know. I found that this is one of the biggest things for me to make sure I feel peace inside regarding relationships, regarding certain areas of my life. Obviously, the biggest one is still the first one, to really do the inner work, of course, and take inventory. But then this is another piece that's really important on a daily basis for me, right? So even in the morning, sometimes when I get up, and I am an emotional authority, and that is part of it as well. But still, just as a manifestor, we do have the waves as well, not like an emotional authority, but it's still a wave, it's even a wave of creative urge and rest. That's a wave, and I can feel it. It's like, oh, okay, I have that idea. Oh, even at the birthday party today, I had this kind of, I felt this post coming through in my head of the free woman. And I just took a moment, sat by the side of the house, and took my phone and just wrote the post down, because I just really felt it in my body, the creative urge on that party. And so I took that time for myself to let that flow onto just inside my own chat that I have with myself. And then that's great, right? So kind of like letting these moments flow, where either you inform or you have a creative urge and you really let it go somewhere where you can go to later again, or you already started like the process. of jotting the ideas down, for example. And that really helps me to have peace. So basically, coming into the next point, which is allowing flow state. So what helps me to have peace is allowing the flow of the urge and the rest. And sometimes it might not be possible to go into the urge completely. So say you are with your child or your children as a mom or as a father, and you have the responsibility to make them dinner and put them to bed and all the things, and you have all these ideas in your head, but you can't really tend to them. Well, I can still write them down or make a little voice note for myself later, or put music on and dance while I do the dinner to let the emotion flow through me. So, whatever it is, when I feel there's an urge coming in, whatever situation it is, I make sure I can either talk about it in the moment and just share with the people I'm with. Oh, I have this idea right now. I just want to speak on it. Like, it's nothing I'm initiating, right? Like, it's nothing I'm informing you about that I'm doing. It's just, I have this idea in my head. I just want to share. Or I write it down, or I do a voice note with myself, or I make sure at least that my creativity can flow. So when I'm on an airplane, for example, and the creative urge hits me, I just write the whole thing down. When I am in the supermarket, even then, I take a moment to do a little voice note for myself. Actually, while I'm speaking right now, I'm really noticing how often I do this. So maybe this is an invitation for you to see if this is something you want to do more often. So really have your phone or a little notebook with you where you write into, or a little recording thingy that you can just record a little voice note for yourself for later. I do that a lot. I do that almost every day, especially when I'm out somewhere. For example, I go to voice lessons twice a week to really free my voice to sing, my singing voice. And while we do the lesson, I have so many downloads. And then right after the lesson in the car, because my husband drives me, I just write the whole thing down or record little voice notes for myself, because so much flows through. So even though we're doing the singing a lesson in the moment, and that is totally, like, that's so amazing and freeing, and I feel I'm so creatively expressing in that moment, still there's so much else that's coming through that I want to jot down. There's so many ideas for products, for marketing, for this world. Like, so much comes through that feels like, oof, I want to do that. Oof, I want to initiate. Oof, that's something. I feel it in my body. And so I just make sure that I don't forget and jot it down later. That's something I do a lot. If none of this is an option, and for me it always is, but say it's not, say you're in the sauna, in the middle of the sauna, and you don't obviously have your phone or a notebook, and you don't want to leave the sauna, say something like that, right? Or in the supermarket, you don't have your phone with you, whatever. You can't, you're driving your car, you can't make a voice note, you can't write something down. So something like that, right? What I do then is either speak to myself loudly if I'm, say, in the car alone. So that brings me peace, or it helps me to stay in alignment. It helps me stay in that feeling of peace, because whatever download I do have in my head, I say right away. And by saying it, we use our defined throat as manifestors to move through it. And if I can speak, say in the sauna, then, for example, there's more people in the sauna, I don't want to leave the sauna, something like that, then I just breathe more deeply, just feel inside my body, into my body, and I visualize whatever I kind of like just channeled or download that I had. So I use an image inside myself that I can remember well. And then sometimes if it's really something that I'm excited about, I already feel into it and just let it flow inside of me and let more things come through. So these are things how I stay in alignment with the creative urge coming through. Now, how do I do it when the rest phase kind of kicks in and I want to stay in alignment? So I think the biggest piece here is, again, using the example of being a mom. Whenever I'm with my kid, he's a manifesting generator, full of energy, and he's very expressive about his needs, which of course is amazing. So glad that he's so attuned to his needs and so vocal about them. And of course, if my rest phase kicks at the same time and I just really want to go home or rest, I just, again, as I said a little bit already, in the other example, is that I say to my son, I see you, thank you for expressing your need, and I really want to go home, or I really want to rest. So let's find a way where we both can do what we want to do. So you want to stay at this birthday party still? Do you want to walk home after? Or, I see if I can find a mom who could bring him later, or I say to him, okay, I'm going to sit in that corner. I'm going to chill there. And then when you're done, just get me. Or I could just ask the hosts of, a birthday party or wherever I'm at, I could just let them know. And again, that's about conditioning and deconditioning, because if we feel it's not polite to take some time when you're socializing, then you might have some shame around that, or an idea of, I can't do that. Like, you're not allowed to do that. And for me, it's, yes, I can. Of course, I can do whatever I want to do, as long as I don't hurt anyone physically, or even emotionally by attacking them. So if I just express my need, then of course that's best always. And if they don't like it, then that's okay, because I'm a manifestor, and not just a manifestor, we're humans. We're here to inspire each other through being free. Like, the biggest service we can do really to humanity is being free. And especially as manifestors, we're here to initiate. So if I feel this way and I say it, I inform that I want to take some time right now while everyone is together, and I just want to take some time for me. That's inspiring. And even if it's triggering, it's still good, because you're initiating. Like, it doesn't matter how people react. If it brings you peace to say what you got to say for your needs to be met, and you're initiating others, like 2 in 1, that's perfect. So I just really make sure I'm very creative around that. So again, looking at the rest phase kicking in, and say it's the weekend, and as a family we want to look at what we want to do. I'm vocal about how I feel. I say, I don't feel up to do anything. We can cuddle, we can lay in bed, we can be outside, look into the sky, and play while laying down, or we could play Uno, card games or whatever. So I could just offer things that are fine for me to do when I'm in rest phase. I could say, I want to make a fire for us. I could make a fire for us. Or let's watch Modern Family all together, right? So I just offer things that I would like to do, and just say, like, I'm willing to this, but I'm not willing to do this. So how could we do it? And for me, it's really important to honor that. So as a non-energy type, as a manifestor, it's just so important for us to understand that we are part of the, like, around 30% of humanity that just have less energy in like one day, right? Like, or at a certain moment. I mean, not even saying it like that, because a creative urge could go hours and hours, or even a week or something, right? But at some point, the rest phase will kick in. And at some point, we will be wanting to take time off, or wanting to be less social with people. And so we just really need to let them know, and we need to honor that ourselves, and not think that it's wrong or that it should be differently, because we won't feel peaceful inside. We will feel we're wrong for it, and we shouldn't feel this way. But we know as manifestors, we know as non-energy types, that is just who we are. So let's really honor that and let people know. And yeah, just be very creative around, how could we meet all the needs that are there. And it's not about who defends their needs better. It's always about urgency for me. So that's always a good example too, because if you have a baby, then of course when the baby cries, then that whatever it has, it's an urgent need. So if I have to pee, I take it with me to go pee, because that's an urgent need as well. But if my need is to socialize and my baby's crying, then of course this need is more urgent in the moment, and then I can see how to meet my need later, right? Or how to make it happen on that day later or whatever. So it's all about urgency. And then if all needs are equally urgent, because it's all about, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. Say, right, my husband, my son, and I said that, Then it's about creatively brainstorming. How could we make that possible so we all are happy today with fulfilling our needs? And that's really how we go about it. And it's all about creativity. It's all about, what about this idea? What about that idea? And we just really brainstorm together until we find a good solution. And the last thing I want to say about peace is, again, a thing about the nervous system. It's about, how do I really feel peaceful? How do I feel peaceful? And here I want to invite you to really brainstorm around the senses and about also boundaries. So how do you feel in your own home? How do you feel? Do you have a room in your home that is yours? Do you have a studio or a workplace or a bedroom for you or whatever? And is that space, does it really feel peaceful to you? Like, what would it need so it feels peaceful? So for me, for example, I grew up with a few Disney movies and always wanted to be a princess. I wanted to be Ariel and Pocahontas mostly, because I just thought, Cinderella is just this people-pleasing slave. I didn't say it like that, obviously, as a kid, but, it felt like that for me already back then. And so I wanted to be Ariel or Pocahontas, but I still really felt peaceful around pink walls, like if walls were light pink. And so later in life, when I studied at university, the dorm room that I had, I painted it pink, like light pink. And so I'm actually getting my own studio soon. I'm gonna paint it a light pink, and then I'll put white and golden furniture in there, because this is how I feel very peaceful. And then I'm already surrounded by all the nature here in Costa Rica. It's all green around me. And so that feels amazing as well. So looking at plants or into the green, for me, is also the water sound. So having like a little fountain inside my home. Working with oils, for example, Young Living or doTERRA oils, certain scents that activate that feeling of peace inside me. So it's all around the different senses, right? It's about, what do you smell that evokes peace inside of you? What do you see that evokes peace inside of you? If it's your home, right? What do you see and what is around you? What do you touch? So the materials, right? So when I wear polyester, for example, it feels off. It doesn't feel good. It feels itchy. I'm not doing it. So most of the time now I wear silk or I wear bamboo, and then I also wear cotton, and these feel amazing, especially when it's all, most of the time what I wear is like fair trade and like artisans, like just businesses that are from a person that started the business, right? Like Warriors of the Divine, I love their clothing, or Camilla. And these are just clothes I love wearing around my body. Like these, it just feels really good. And that too helps me to feel peaceful. Like the clothes I wear that represent who I am in the moment, that feels like peace inside of me. And so what touches my body, the creams, the oils, so whatever you have on your body, it's your biggest organ. It goes inside of your body. What do you eat, right? Of course, I don't feel peaceful if I have fast food all the time or too much sugar. So peace definitely is about what I put inside my body. And, if it nourishes me and it helps me to feel more vital, or if it drains my life force. So of course, that's so important. Also sleep, right? Your sleep quality and how much you sleep and what's best for you in this way. And then coming back to the senses, what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what's on your body. Which one did I forget? Seeing, tasting, smelling, hearing. What do I hear? So the music or the sounds, that could really help. I'm actually very sensitive around that. Like if it's in a city and there's too many noises, then I usually use or even on the airport, I use my Bluetooth, how do you say, like the ear thingies, and put on music or whatever I want to listen to, just to evoke peace through that. So I make sure that I do that. And this is how I have boundaries too. Like in the airport, I have boundaries around that. Really the what I'm wearing is shielding me. The oil that I'm smelling that I have is shielding me from whatever I'm smelling in the airport, all the sounds in the airport. It's just an example, right? It could be anything, like the city or wherever you are, where you don't really feel peaceful through the surrounding. I make sure by whatever means I have that I feel that. And I just make sure. So if you would see me in the airport or in a city or somewhere, you usually see me with Bluetooth thingies and just very much inside myself and with myself, because I'm just very centered and make sure I have my energy field in which I do feel very peaceful. And it's a priority for me, wherever I go, I make sure I feel peaceful wherever I go. And even if there's a moment of surprise where I didn't expect a certain thing and I do feel alarmed, I just breathe and I really take the time to come back to a center to feel peaceful again. And it's a priority for me. And that's the last invitation I have for you today. The episode is already quite long, but that's my deep dive today for you, exploring peace. And it's really a lot about the nervous system, about the senses, about conditioning, about what triggers not feeling peaceful, and about what helps you to feel peaceful. So take inventory, look at all the different elements in your life that bring you peace and then also don't, to make sure you can change that so that we can be our most peaceful self. And it's not a problem when we're angry at times. I want to talk about that in another episode. There's moments of kind of intense anger that is an immediate kind of surprising anger that comes up. I, for myself, noticed in my manifestor life that is the most healthy way where I experience anger, because it's not because I'm not aligned, but because something in the outside triggered the kind of anger in the moment, and it's just in a little explosion that I have, and it's actually quite natural and healthy for me to have that. But it's important the way it expresses. So I'm not screaming at anyone, just feel it inside. I voice it, or I just go away, have a moment for myself, and then I go back to my center. But of course, anger is healthy. Any emotion is healthy. So I'm not saying any emotion ever is not healthy. It's all healthy. It all wants to move. But we're here to feel peaceful. We're here to feel centered in our essence, in our midst. We're here to feel at peace. That's our natural state. So I invite you to explore this, because the more peaceful we feel, the more powerful we are. The more, the less shakable we are, the more grounded and centered we are wherever we go, and the more powerful our aura and our initiation will be just by being. You don't even have to say anything. When I am like that, I radiate peace, and that in and of itself is an initiation for people around us. So let's focus on that, because this world needs nothing more than that: peace. Peace, peace, peace. So let's be peace embodied. Big invitation for you. I hope this served you, and I can't wait to catch you next time. This was today's episode for you as a manifestor in the concept of human design. I hope this episode and whole podcast serves you. And if it does, I invite you to leave a 5-star review on iTunes, or rank the podcast 5 stars on whatever platform you listened, or subscribe, comment, or share, whatever feels right to you, so we can spread this for all manifestors to hear and rise as one. Thank you from one manifestor to another. I deeply appreciate you rising, and I look forward to catch you next time. Always remember, you are here to feel peaceful. You are here to initiate. Remember to always inform peacefully. You are so powerful. I see you. You've got this. From one manifestor to another, yours, Julia.